I want to thank Best Buy for sponsoring this video. Okay, so right here is my issue. I'm looking at a bunch of TVs on Best Buy's website, but I don't know which one is the right one to get. And to be honest, there's a Samsung, a Samsung, a Samsung, and a Samsung, and they're all OLED TVs. But how do you know which one is the right one for you? And should you even pick that brand versus another? So we're gonna go over a lot of different things like that. I'm gonna differentiate between some of the best TVs, some of the best deals overall, and kind of give you what I would buy if I were you in most instances. And I'm gonna end with talking about the king of TVs, the best TV of the year, and a couple other TVs that I think are hidden gems. So stick around to the end so we can get into all that. So we have a bunch of Samsung OLED TVs here. We have the S90C, which I think is one of the best buys for the year. We have the S89C, which must be a little bit less. 89 is less than 90, right? We have another S90C here of a smaller size, and then we have the nicest S95C, but a 55-inch, and all the prices are relatively similar, and it makes it hard to determine which TV you should buy. I'm just gonna lay it out for you right here. If you're gonna buy a Samsung OLED and you want the best bang for the buck, I definitely think you should get the Samsung S90C OLED here. This was discounted quite a bit now. I mean, it's $15.99 for a 65-inch TV, so it's not cheap by any means. It's a pretty expensive TV, but it's $1,000 off what it initially was when it came out. So we're in the point of the year where you're going to get some great deals on 2023 TVs, and this is definitely one of them. I'm not sure it's going to go down much more, and if it did over the next 60 days, you probably could get a discount or reimbursed. But this is a great opportunity. We love this TV. Fantastic OLED quality, QD OLED, bright colors, great Tizen software, though it's not my favorite software in the world, but you can connect any kind of device to it if you want. I think in general, the second year of these Samsung QD OLEDs, fantastic TV. So if I was to look at that first screen and say, hey, which one of these should I get? I would go with the S90C, and I think just the S95C is definitely a little bit better, but almost double the price. I'll get into that in a second. However, on the other side, I'm not necessarily sold on the Samsung QLEDs this year, and the reason is because I don't really know what screens they're using, if they're using the ADS panels or they're using the VA panels, and it's different for each model and each region of the world, and it's been kind of confusing. And to be honest, the fact that they have about 6 or 7 different models of QLEDs or Neo QLEDs, it makes it a little bit more difficult for me. So for $16.99, $100 more than the QD OLED, you can get this QLED, but I didn't really like it as much as I like that QD OLED. So it'd be hard for me to recommend this to other people. And one of the reasons is because I also find value in other brands. And I'm going to talk to you that in just a second. But I did want to mention, because this is a video sponsored by Best Buy, that you should go and download the Best Buy app, because it makes it a lot easier to find what you're looking for, and there's some added value in actually using the app. One of those is having My Best Buy Plus or My Best Buy Total. If you have that feature, if you're part of the membership, you're going to actually save more money in certain instances. So when you scroll down the website here, sometimes the prices are the same as they are online, but every now and then you'll get to a point where you'll see it does say total member price $399 for this TCL S4 65-inch, and it's actually $30 more if you just go onto the website. So it's kind of hard to tell which ones are the best prices, but if you're logged in and you're part of the membership, you can see you have your discount here on the app, super easy, and you can just go through and purchase it on the app itself. I find this personally a lot easier than the website. I use the app all the time to scroll through to figure out, when I can pick products up versus when I can get them delivered, what kind of accessories you can get with them. It has all the features that it would have online too. So you're pretty much, in a no-lose situation when you're using the app. And the other thing you can see is, the membership savings. You can go in and you can see purchases you've made, and you can see, when you can return them to. So, all these different features are available for you. So if you go into Best Buy to try to return something and you have your order like up here on your phone, it's very easy and simple to make a return or to pick up a product or to buy things online. And so definitely check out the links in the description so that you guys can download the Best Buy app and use it today. But getting back to the video, I was talking about better deals than the top 3 brands, and one of them is the Hisense U8K. So I had this TV in for review. I really liked it, one of the best QLEDs I've ever seen, and this 75-inch is actually $100 less than this 65-inch Samsung. So when I say there is value in other brands, I really mean it. This TV is fantastic. And I actually gave this TV away to a buddy of mine. We're going to make a really cool video out of that coming up in a week or two. But he absolutely loved it because they had a more generic like ONN TV 65-inch. And when we put this up in their house, they were like, wow, does that look good? So people underestimate how good a lot of these TVs are because as reviewers, we sit here and nitpick the details all the way down for every model. And it's like, can we be happy with any TV? So really, most people would absolutely love this Hisense U8K. It is $1,600 though for a 75 inch, which is still rather expensive. And they actually even have a less expensive model, this U7K, which is only $999 for a 75 inch. So under $1,000 for a 75 inch TV, which I think is great for this quality. And then there's the 65 inch for $749. So both of those are really good TVs, and I recommend you guys giving Hisense a look. And on the other hand, we have another TCL. I showed you very briefly that S4, which is $399 if you are logged in under your account, you use the app or whatever. Here it's $429. This is a more basic LED TV, but the QM8 is the top of the line mini LED from TCL, and I think this is also a very great TV. The 65 inch is $1099, which is the exact same price as that Hisense that I showed you, but the 65 inch version. So both of those are very good, and they're very competitive with regards to the top brands. I mean, you will have a hard time finding a TV of this quality for the price, so I'd highly recommend the QM8. I love it. I also have it in the 98 inch, which gets a little bit more expensive. It's listed at $89.99. So not necessarily a fantastic deal right now, but I have another one coming up that is. So if you're looking for a 98 inch TV, I got your back. Hold on for a second. But really what I'm excited about is this is the time of season where this year's TVs are now going lower than last year's TVs, or last year's TVs are out of stock. Things like that. So we actually have one of my favorite TVs of the year. It's pretty much always the case, the C-Series OLED from LG. So we have the C3 right now is $1599, whereas LG's C2 from last year is listed at $1699 for the same size. So this is the newer model. This is 2023. That's 2022. So look, $1599. I think people have been waiting for this price to come down. We're getting to that time of year. It's a fantastic OLED TV. You're going to have fantastic gaming, the processing, motion, all of the things that you might complain about from an OLED or from an LG if you were, talking about a few years ago. Maybe they're not quite up to par with a Sony OLED. I think the C3 and the G3, fantastic. I love them both, and I think this is a great deal at $1599. But that brings me to that Samsung I was talking about, because it's also $1599. And if you had to ask a lot of people which they prefer, the Samsung 65-inch QD OLED or the C3, W OLED, this would be a very difficult decision, and I bet you'd get about a 50-50 split. On one hand, you have the LG that's been around a lot longer with fantastic gaming specs, and I think people are just very comfortable with LG and OLED in general. But on the other hand, you have this QD OLED technology, which is a little brighter, a little bit more colorful in theory, I guess, but they're newer in OLED TVs. Actually, they were anti-OLED TVs for a while, but now they have these fantastic ones, and a lot of people think that these are just as good for gaming, just as good for movies, and I think it starts to come down to operating systems or just brand loyalty. I think both of them are fantastic, and I think if you're going to go top of the line and you're going Samsung or LG and you're saying, I gotta get a great TV, I'm not going to get the TCL or the Hisense, then I would say that these OLED TVs are two of the best, whether it be the C3 right here or it's the S90C. I think both are fantastic. And, they both have higher models. The S95C here, fantastic as well, but it's $1,000 more. So if you're going to get a 65-inch TV, are you going to be okay with having, 1,000 nit OLED TV here that, unless you're in a, blistering bright room, is going to function just fine. It's going to be plenty bright and you're going to love it. Or do you have to go for the top of the line, spend another 1,000 just to get, 500 more nits, 50% more brightness and some peak highlights? That's a tough call for me. This one also comes with the One Connect box, which is nice because then you can kind of set that in a different area if you have this up on the wall, or can hide behind the stand, which makes it pretty cool. But it's very difficult to say that it is worth another $1,000, but I'll leave that to you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. And if you're watching so far and you're like, well, what about Sony, Brandon? Sony makes great TVs. I would agree with you. I think one of the best opportunities for anyone that likes a Sony TV is the X90L. These are normally right in people's wheelhouses with regards to price and quality. This is the 85-inch. It's actually about $2,000. It says C price in the cart, but I'll let that slip that I already looked. $2,000 for now for the 85-inch. It's normally a fantastic deal, and everyone's like trying to buy these around, Super Bowl or around Black Friday. So it's at that price point that it's probably not going to go down further anyway. So I would recommend you just go for it. It is $100 more than both of those 65-inch Hisense and TCLs I was talking about. So, if you're talking about the QM8 versus this X90L, I know a couple of my buddies have made videos about this, and I was very surprised at how well this did. This is technically their second tier TV. They have one higher, or actually two mini LEDs higher that I'll talk about in just a second, but it's $100 more for that Sony processing and motion handling and color and accuracy. So I think a lot of people would be pretty satisfied with this X90L, and I just think it's the right price point, because if you try to go to the next level up, if you try to go to the mini LED Sony, now you're talking about a double price. So you're $37.99 versus $2,000 for the differences. So yeah, I mean, this is still in the ballpark of a lot of other high-end panels. So if you're talking about a Samsung top of the line or LG top of the line, you'll probably see a similar price point to this. But you're at $16.99 if you go with the mini LED, so $500 more. I think a lot of people would probably still do this. I like this higher end version better, to be honest. It has better anti-reflective capabilities. It's brighter. It is the mini LED, and I think it still retains all the positives of Sony motion, processing. It's fantastic. So definitely great. I do think that the X90L though is also a great deal. And if you're looking at this $37.99 price point for an 85-inch Sony, and you're thinking, well, can I go even bigger for that price? The answer is yes. There's actually a new 98-inch S5 from TCL, which is really awesome, to be honest. Currently, it's listed at $39.99. I actually got it for $29.99. So I think pay attention to this if you're looking for a 98-inch size, because you can get this for another $1,000 off. It's really nice. We like the highlights. It's a direct lit TV, so it doesn't have a bunch of dimming zones. It doesn't give you that like weird blooming effect that you might think would be not awesome if you're watching it in the dark. I actually love the highlights of this 98-inch. Probably my favorite 98-inch TV that I've had to date. It looked a little better off angle than the QM8 did when I had them side by side. And I think that this is a much better price point for most people. So 98-inch TV, for even $4,000 is great. If it goes down to $3,000, it's a no-brainer. And I think that this is the one to get in your house if you want a absolutely massive screen. And speaking of massive screens, I have to talk about these UST projectors, because I've liked them more and more as time has gone on. I've actually seen some of these Hisense here for the price point of $2,400. If you already have a screen, or if you get a screen, it's pretty awesome. And some of them are actually paired with screens, so you can look down here and see this L5H comes with a 120-inch screen for $44.99. So, it's something to think about if you have a room that's darker, if you're going to be, trying to make a home theater out of a room. There's some really good opportunities for you to pair a screen with a projector, kind of get it all in one, get it set up. And I think it's something that people are looking at more and more, because size is really king. We have a 150-inch screen in our living room right now, and I have to say, it is just unbelievably massive. Another video on that's coming out too, so check that out when it comes. And last but not least, we have the top of the line TVs for 2023. And I still have not actually seen the Sony A95L. Now, I've heard a lot of great things, and it won the best overall TV for 2023. But I can't really comment on whether it's worth it or not, especially since, as you can see here, the 77-inch is still $5,000, and it's actually sold out. So not much I can do about it right now, because that's the exact size that I'm going to get. But if you were going to get one of these sizes, you got, the 65-inch at $34.99. You got the 55-inch at $27.99. So no matter how good it is it going to be a deal for you right now? Is it going to be something that you pick up? That's for you to decide. And the other TVs that got second and third place with regards to the TV shootout, and even another one here, are far less expensive. I mean, you have the LG G3 right here, which is a full $900 less than the Sony A95L. And this is fantastic. I have this TV and I absolutely love it. And the same goes for the Samsung 65-inch S95C, which again is $900 less than the one that won King of TVs. All three of these are fantastic, and I would have to say you're splitting hairs on which one you buy. And then you have to remember that you still have the LG C3, which is under half the price of that A95L. So, that's why I say, use the website here, use the app. Make sure you guys look at what is the best price point for you, because these are all fantastic quality panels and TVs, and they all have great gaming specs, and I really like them. So you really can't go wrong. But man, doesn't it make that C3 and even that Samsung S90C at $15.99 both look really good? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And of course, check out the links in the description below. If you guys can purchase through those links, it does help the channel, so I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe so this video can be sent out to more people. And again, make sure you guys download the app so you can use your phone to purchase all these things, and I'll see you guys on the next video.